Thanks so much for watching AM Northwest this morning. Is this your year to retire? Here to help us figure it out, we welcome back financial planning and consulting specialist David Swanson. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Okay, let's talk about this. How do we figure out if we can retire? I know a lot of us want to retire.
Right.
How do we figure out if we can retire?
Right. Well, the very first thing that we need to do is we really need to get organized, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to figure out, of all the things that you have, how are those going to best be used for your income in retirement, all right?
Well, do we have to kind of figure out what we want to do in retirement too? Like if we want to travel, we're going to need more money than if we just want to hang out at home.
All good plans are based on what you want to do. You need to have a list of things that you want to do or some idea of where you want to go. And those things all have a value, a cost to them. And if you can afford to do those things sooner rather than later, you certainly should. And if 2018 is the year for you to retire, then you should be doing that.
Okay, so how do we get organized? What do we need to get in order?
All right. So first of all, you need to look at everything they have. So you make an inventory just like you would in your pantry of all your food, but you make an inventory of all your financial stuff. And you say, okay, how can these things best help me in the future? What income streams, what do I have going on with these things? When can I take Social Security? When can I start my pension? Then the next thing you need to do is look at how much risk you're taking in your overall situation. Market has been very strong lately, there's no question, but things go in cycles. So if the market is declining when you're retiring, you may delay your retirement, okay? So if you're taking too much risk, you have to stop and assess where you are. And the final thing is that you have to write it down.
You have to write it down. That's a really big one for you. You better write it down.
You've got to write it down, because if you don't write it down, it's not a plan, it's just an idea. And so that is key in accomplishing anything. People like to make lists to get their groceries. Well, people need to make lists to make sure that they retire.
Right. Is there an age that's kind of like the sweet spot that you found?
Well, it really is dependent on the very first thing that we talked about. What do you want to do? What are your objectives in retirement? If you want to travel, maybe you need more resources, but maybe you have enough. If you're happy to do things at home and garden and that's the things that you like, maybe you don't need to have so many resources. So the problem that people have without organizing everything is that they may be right in front of them, their goal may already be solved, they just don't know it.
Do you have people come and they think, oh, I can't retire yet, and you say, oh no, it looks like you can?
And they do, and it's a great day for me.
That would be fantastic.
It's a good day for me, yes.
Yeah, and so you talk about evaluating what you have.
Yes.
And then there's the execution as to what to do next.
Right. So then what you have to do is you convert really your whole life savings, which has been growing. That's what you started when you're 20s until your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Hopefully. And that all process needs to convert, instead of growing now, to a cash flow, because your wages are gone, all right? So now you have to figure out, if I take a slice of this money every single month, am I going to have enough months to live a long life and be comfortable? And that's why you write the plan down. That's why you need to analyze what you have. And we can help with that. Okay.
And then do you also, when you talk about evaluating what you have, try to determine how long you think you'll live?
Well, there are...
Because, you guys are not going to live as long as us women.
That's exactly right. So, of course you do. And the other thing, too, is if you have children or don't have children, and if you have children, do you want to leave assets? Is your primary goal to leave money to your kids, or is it to consume and leave what's left? That's a very, very important point.
Or to spend their inheritance.
We don't know that, and so and a husband and a wife may have very different thoughts on that. So it's important when you sit down in this initial consulting meeting is that you figure out where you both want to go, because very rarely are people on the exact same track. But a compromise is what's very important.
Absolutely. All right, now we have questions from viewers.
Yes.
And so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to answer some of those questions for you. All right, Dave?
Okay.
All right, we'll be right back with more of your questions. Don't go away. Welcome back to AM Northwest. We're talking with David Swanson from Swanson Financial about how to figure out if you're ready to retire, and we're answering your questions now. All right, let's get right to it.
Okay.
The first question says, should I be concerned about the Trump tax law changes and my pending 2018 retirement?
Absolutely. So you need to coordinate your tax forecast and coordinate the tax consequences of any distributions that you're going to have. Most people that have put money into retirement accounts haven't paid any income taxes on those, so when they come out, they're taxed at the tax rate that ordinary income is. So just have to forecast that in your written plan, and that's why forecasting and having a written plan is so important.
That's why you have to write it down.
You do.
You got to write it down. Okay, next question is, the stock market has us very concerned as we're both retiring in just about 6 months. Our stockbroker wants us to continue to invest. Are we taking too much risk?
You know, it's hard to determine how much risk is just right for any person, but there is a fact, and that is that as you get closer to retirement, you must be taking less risk. The fact is that you just don't have the time to recover from a decline in the market. In 2008, we were all working, market went down 40%.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Rough.
Yeah.
If you were retiring then, you may have not retired.
Right.
Because you were overexposed to stocks and the market went down so much. If we're right now and this market opens up, and you're getting ready to retire, you may be delaying your retirement when in fact right now you have enough resources to do everything you want. You're just taking too much risk. And those are some of the things we talk about in our free workshops that we offer. We're having one tomorrow, but you can look on our website and look for those. But taking too much risk is a big factor in determining if you're going to be successful or not in retirement.
With everyone, and I'm not financially savvy, with everyone talking about how great the stock market is doing, is now then the time to cash out?
Well,
Is that a thing?
Here's what happens is that because the market has done so well, you may have had a relatively balanced account, but now your growth may be way more than what your safe is because it went up so much in value. So the point is that you need to have an analysis done, and as you get closer to retirement, you should only be risking assets that you can afford to lose, okay? So it's a much smaller percentage in growth than you have in safety. You need to be safer because the idea is you just need money for the rest of your life.
Right. So you want it to be steady. Our next question is, our pension plan offers several different options. Will I be sure how will I be sure that I'm selecting the best option for our family? They have a pension plan, which is great.
It is great. And so do you take it for your life? Do you take it for you and your spouse? Is it, if you both have pensions, should you both have joint lives? You get a lot less when you take joint versus individual. You got to do an analysis you have to do analysis to determine which is the best plan, and we help you with that.
Okay. One of the things you brought up in the past is how if you've been married in the past and it was for 10 years or more, you're eligible for that person's Social Security, right?
Yeah, for the divorced spouse, it's a really great situation. And if you don't know if you're eligible, you have questions about that, you've been married and you are divorced now, been married for 10 years, give our office a call. We'll be happy to walk you through the steps and make sure that you're getting what you're entitled to.
Right. Next question is, I'm 63 and retiring just started Social Security this month. If I go back to work next year, will I be penalized for starting Social Security before the age of 66?
You may.
Oh.
If you make too much money. So currently it's at $17,040 is the taxable wages you can earn in a year and draw Social Security before age 65. So you need to be cognizant of that. Now a lot of people, they work for an employer and then they come back in that employer in part-time as a consultant. That is, in my opinion, a way better situation than coming back as an employee if you want to draw Social Security. So it's about taxable wages, not about just the absolute income that you have. So we will be happy to consult with you on that to make sure that if you're going to draw Social Security and work, that you don't run afoul of that law. Because the penalty is $1 for every $2 that you're over.
Oh, wow.
$17,000 in penalty.
Okay.
So it's very heavy.
All right, we want to tell folks, if you'd like to find out more about Swanson Financial, give them a call, 503-603-9900. We'll put that information for you on our website at KATU.com. David, thank you very much.